Some retro gaming news. This broke a few days ago. I've reached out to the owner for comments since I've communicated with them before. JJGames, which is one of the larger online retro game retailers. You know, if you think back to like DK Oldies was one of them on eBay that had a huge. There was always 2 or 3 on eBay.
JJ, DK,
Lukey Games. Those are like the 3 big ones. There's always like a 4th one maybe. I used to buy manuals from a lot of them back when I was trying to get my manuals collection up because sometimes I do like buy 2 get 1 free or things. But anyway, so JJGames is also responsible for PriceCharting.com. They run price charting, came up with it, which is a great tool. A lot of other websites use it. The NES app uses it for game pricing. Is it 100% accurate? No, but it's the best thing you sort of have when it comes to this. Now, I communicated with JJ in the past. JJ also in the past has owned things like he owned one of the campus challenges going back, and then he owned sold an NWC cart within the past couple years. Did a giveaway, I believe, for the NWC off the top of my head. So they did. He's a big time collector as well. It's been in the sort of the heart of the retro game community for a long time. Been a part of it. So on January 10th, they announced on Facebook that they're going out of business. Thank you for 20 great years of gaming. I've been truly blessed as the owner of JJ Games. JJGames.com started in my college dorm room and has provided for me and all our employees for many years. Unfortunately, the gaming world has changed. Not as many people want physical games anymore. We aren't selling enough stuff to keep the lights on. Over the next few weeks, we'll be liquidating all our games, consoles, and hardware. Prices will decrease every day until the stuff sells. Please check back every day for deals. So now it's started. When you go to the website, you see the prices, and it's based off they're probably off their price charting. Then it's probably going to decrease, percentages and take value off of there. And I have mixed feelings about this, and I don't know exactly what this tells me. This is a large retailer. There's a picture on the Facebook page of, they have their little warehouse of all their inventory lined up there. And it's interesting because, as you stated, console generations popularity, it goes through the years. It wanes. It gets more popular, then it decreases again.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what percentage of inventory. I actually sent out an email as soon as I found out. I don't know if I've heard back. I'll check. I want to ask, what consoles are selling and what isn't. If it's cartridge based, obviously NES has been sliding down. You would say even 16-bit have been sliding down for a few years now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the most popular stuff we're selling right now is definitely
it's now disc based.
64, GameCube, and we're starting to see a lot of interest in PS2 again.
So I wonder if this is maybe the problem is there's too much N64 inventory. There's too much NES inventory laying around because, we're talking about businesses like this. This isn't, like a video game store, people walking the door. They use bots potentially, and they buy stuff online. They buy lots of games.
Right.
And they buy stuff that's cheap. But when you think about the accumulation of potential inventory over years and years of this, who knows? They could have 50 copies of NES Ninja Turtles laying around. That it's hard to get rid of. They could have,
depending on what kind of scale they're buying, and that wouldn't surprise me.
That'd be easy to do.
There are games. There are games that we have copies of that we will never. I mean,
you have just 30 bases loaded, probably, right?
A lot of bases loaded, a lot of golf, stuff like that. Yeah,
and you have to pay to get them, say 10 years ago, but doesn't mean you're going to ever sell them.
Right.
Or make your money back even if you sell them. So it could be one of those situations.
Yeah, it's one of those things that comes, whether you're buying lots or doing trade-ins, to a degree, you can pick and choose what you want when you're doing trade-ins, but most of the time you don't. The customer's going to be happier if you take everything. So yeah, you accumulate stuff that you'll never need. You'll never have to get rid of, or you'll never be able to get rid of normally.
Oh, you actually responded back. I did say it was for the podcast, so I don't think there'd be a problem sharing some of this. Some of the issues causing our close are specific to JJ Games, and others seem to be industry related. Sales have been down in 2018 and 19. 2017 was one of our best years ever, but halfway through 2018, there seemed to be a Google change that pushed our content lower on search results. Oh, it could be something with SEO there too. This was the biggest impact in 2018, but sales on eBay were still strong for us. In 2019, it declined in all locations. It is always hard to say that any decline is industry related or company specific. Anecdotally, from talking with our customers, there are fewer casual buyers than there used to be.
Yeah, it seems that way.
People who are buying a game for their kid or buying a system to relive their childhood. I think many of those people are content to play digitally or buy one of those mini consoles with all the games included. We postulated for many people that would be okay.
Sure.
NES is still strong, and so are GameCube and SNES. Genesis has been much slower now that their virtual console device came out. Price charting is doing well and traffic is up versus last year, so there are still game buyers and sellers out there. But price charting focuses on the collector's market and not so much on the casual. So I think collectors are still strong, but casual buyers are not. There you have it. GameStop-wise, I did ask him this because I'd heard this rumor. GameStop-wise, we used to be a large buyer of GameStop retro games. When GameStop, I guess, decided to pivot, what was it, like a year or so ago. But only their cosmetically damaged stuff. We bought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth from them over the last few years, but that inventory totally dried up in the middle of 2019. That's when they stopped, I think, taking a lot of it in.
Yeah.
We don't buy from them anymore because they have nothing to sell. Okay, so that was one of the things I was thinking about. Maybe they bought too much from GameStop, and now they were stuck with it. I thought that maybe that was part of it. It sounds like they bought hundreds. This has told you the scale of the business. They bought hundreds of thousands of dollars stuff just from GameStop.
That's nuts.
This is a huge business.
Yeah.
We say DK Oldies, Luke Games, and maybe one others, and then you have so for them, NES is still strong. So it's really the casual market disappearing.
Yeah.
But that also affects prices overall because then you have less buyers in general. But the casual buyer, that's interesting because the casual buyer is what starts you off until the collectors come in. It's interesting, and now the casuals might be dying off for some of these systems. The collectors are left. Then at that point, I always said this. If you're collecting these systems, you've had 8-9 years to get these games. The collectors have all the cheap common stuff. That's the first things you find and buy. So at that point, what we just talked about, if you have a business and you have the cheap common stuff, that's going to be hard to sell at this point for some of these consoles. It just will be. And it might be even hard to sell some of the uncommon weird stuff that only the hardcore collector wants. You know what I mean?
I don't have any particular examples off the top of my head, but I mean, even a few years ago when stuff was popular, what you sell in a store, at least, I can only talk about being in a store, but what you sell physically in a store is going to be different than what you sell online where everyone can find it.
We have a universe of buyers.
Yeah. For instance, we had a bunch of really nice boxed Sega stuff come in, like console-wise, like a
Genesis?
Yeah, like 2 years ago. Yeah. Like a really nice boxed Sega CD. Box Genesis, box power base converter, like a complete really, really nice Dreamcast. And we sold them for considerably less than what you would get for them online. The Sega CD went for top dollar, but some of that stuff, like, for someone to walk into a store and be like, I've been looking for a boxed power base converter.
Yeah.
It's not.
If you're not a crazy person named Pat, it's going to be hard to find that.
Right. It's going to be hard to find the buyer for it. So you sell it for cheaper. Anyways, whatever. I got sidetracked. I think it is worth bringing up, not trying to go ham on them here, but pricing on the website. A lot of these online stores do tend to charge more than eBay does. Looking through the comments on one of these.
Yeah, there are comments that are upset with some of the pricing.
$100 for Super Mario Sunshine. That's insane. That's like double what we would charge for it.
That could be part of their algorithm, that it's automatically going from the price charting algorithm, I'm guessing.
Sure.
And maybe it's not knocking off someone's that are sealed or what have you. But
47 for Eternal Darkness disc only. That's what we would do probably a complete copy for.
I saw someone complain about the price of GoldenEye being double about what you can get it for.
I saw an $80 Mario Kart on here. That's way more than what we charge for it. So
that doesn't account for everything, though.
No,
because I'm looking at some of their NES prices, and a lot of them are reasonable. They're like the going rate. There's
right. You can. That's what I wanted to say. The pricing can scare people away, absolutely, and that can be part of it. But I don't think it's the only thing.
No, and especially if you're
there's definitely market changes.
Especially if you're the true casual. And you're seeing this, you're not going to hunt around for the best deal. You might just say, oh, JJGames, I'll go there and I'll buy just 10, 15 NES games and whatever. If I'm paying 10, 20% more than eBay, who cares? So
pricing can definitely be part of it, but it would not be the only thing.
Right now, you can get Bump and Jump for $3.46 in stock. There you go.
I love Bump and Jump.
It's a fun game. We like playing on the marathon. Yeah, it's definitely tied. Looking at Gyrus is $9.32, so it's definitely tied to price chart, and they're not round numbers. Super Pitfall $13.27, Barbie $4.88. Cobra Triangle is out of stock right now. So yeah, when you look at the prices, you can be like, okay, some of these are fair, some of these are fair. Some will be higher. Akari Warriors, you know, a high glide for $7.33. Is that too much? But then Mega Man 3 is only $15.72. Is that too little? Like, I don't know. I don't keep track of the prices anymore. But it's just interesting to see when it's based totally off their price charting algorithm, which, you know, is probably the best you can possibly do.
Sure.
It's interesting to see the different, you know, would you be able to sell Ghostbusters 2 for $11.50 in the store? You know, would that sit there for a while? You know, I don't know. It's one of those things where, to me, at this point, it's just, do you have way too much stock for people to now come in and buy these cheaper games?
Sure.
You know, will you be able to still sell a River City Ransom at $25? You might, since that's one of the more popular titles in Esoteric.
Yeah, actually, River City Ransom sells for about that all day.
Yeah, because that's one of the famous ones. And then you have, you know, these modern indie games that ape the style, or even semi sequels that come out, things like that. But, you know,
it's still in the public mind.
Yes, but maybe not. You know, let's see, Adventures of Bayou Billy, or maybe not Fester's Quest, or maybe not. Will you sell Jaws for $7 easily? That's really the question.
Actually, Jaws sells like
Does it?
Crazy. I think we charge $5 for it, but all I'm saying
underrated game, people.
Jaws is pretty good.
Jaws is fun.
I would say Jaws
3
is
stars according to a certain NES guidebook. Above average.
Probably the best LJN game.
Jaws is fun.
Simple. It's fun.
Play Jaws. It's enjoyable little arcade RPG-ish romp.
RPG-ish?
You build up your stats.
Okay.
Your power of your attack.
I would call it more
get
of
the
a shooter than an RPG, but
I was like, Back to the Future is a shooter.
Back to the Future is a shooter.
Jaws is closer to being a shooter than Back to the Future is. That's for sure.
Shooters. My favorite shooter. Back to the Future.
I think it's just action. That's the genre for there. But anyway, yeah, will you be able to sell Russian Attack for $5? Will you be able to sell Rambo for $7.50? That's the tough questions. But these are the common games back then that sold a ton that nowadays no one cares about. That's the whole point. So so best of luck, and thanks to JJ for responding to me in a timely manner. Good on him. But, you know, I've communicated back and forth from time to time with JJ over the years here. And yeah, it's interesting that, you know, I don't know, this isn't, you know, the death knell, I don't think, for other stores going under, but when you're talking about one of the largest operations, he just sees the writing on the wall and it's like, okay, I got to cut bait.
Sure.
And it doesn't necessarily mean he'll take a loss on some of the stuff, because who knows? Like I said, this could be inventory he bought 7, 8, 10 years ago, you know, with bots that buy off lots of 75 games for, like, you know, $2 each.
Thinking about fishing games now.
Thinking about cutting bait with Ultimate Fishing Simulator.
Yeah, any number of fishing games at my disposal. So many fishing games at my disposal.
Hey, Ian, you know, it was Christmas. I wanted to treat you for a couple there.
I can play. I have so many fishing games.
Well, you can go buy, how much is, no, I won't look up every fishing game. You can buy Little Mermaid for $9.72. There's a fish.
How much is Blue Marlin?
Blue Marlin? Okay, that's an uncommon game. Blue Marlin.
It's a fucking gem of the system.
$20.83. It's an uncommon game. It's semi-hard to find, and it is fun. I guess that makes sense. What do you sell for that, Luna, you think?
10.
10? Okay.
Complete, I think it's like 20 to 30.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I almost bought it complete the other day. It had been like the first NES game purchase I've made in years. I almost bought it from work, but it had like a tear on the side, and I was like, yeah, if I'm gonna buy a complete Blue Marlin, I
might have it.
I'm gonna get a nice one.
I might have a complete unboxing. Ian.
Yeah.
I might have to check that. Sorry, anything else going on here? Or just like, you know, do you think this is like the sky's falling, or no, it's just sort of it's a peculiar case because it's such a huge retailer?
It is what it is. I think the heat has cooled a little bit, but I don't think this is necessarily a death knell for
all physical games,
brick and mortar retail in general.
It could be a cautionary tale of maybe not overbuying for specific systems when the trends change. Maybe that's what it is too. When it comes to it. Does Pat have Blue Marlin complete in box? I want to say I do. I do, Ian. That might be the first game gone from past collection. It's on the shelf there, I don't think. It's in the garage. All right, Ian's we'll have to work something out here.
I mean, you're more excited about... I mean, I was just saying I might.
I'm just saying, mine's probably in decent shape. That's all. I also have blue. I have Blues Brothers complete.
Gross. That's
really hard to find. That's what I mean. I have this... I don't know why I have some of this stuff. Why do I have that?
I don't know.
And, of course, Castle of Dragon, complete. Because why? Anyway, okay, moving on here.